All right, so we'll take the roll call. Looks like we've got.
Jim Long.
Jim Long is here.
Nancy Natal.
Jim DeMark.
Terry Wood.
Sue Ann Shore.
And the guest of Terry Gaffney.
And a guest.
Who are we missing besides Isabel?
Autumn.
Oh,
Autumn.
Autumn's not here, right,
Autumn
right.
and Rob.
Oh,
Okay.
That he may be traveling. Okay, so everyone should have seen a copy of the April minutes. Any corrections or amendments that we need to make to those?
No?
All right.
It looks
Well,
really good to me.
yes.
Yes?
The welcome speech by Susan Shore. I think it's Sue Ann Shore.
Oh, it is.
Didn't I say so? Ann? Where is
You know
that?
what,
think
it
that
probably
it
auto-corrected.
autocorrects.
Oh, I hate autocorrect.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't you hate that?
I think it's probably fine, but
I
just.
think we can let that ride, yeah.
Yeah.
Silly autocorrect. Okay,
Well-
do we have a motion to accept?
It's easy enough to correct.
I move to accept.
Yep.
Do
Second.
we have a second? Okay,
Third.
Jim.
All in favor.
All in favor?
Yay.
Everybody? Yeah, okay. So the April minutes are accepted. Commission staffing. I know we have one person in the,
Yes.
in the lineup to be, apply and then be interviewed. So
Right.
haven't heard an update on that.
That will happen this month because the Board of Selectmen wasn't interviewing people for positions because of the budget and the
Right,
time
they
they
were
needed
busy.
to devote for
Okay.
that.
Mhm.
So
They have
do-
40 people that they're interviewing for Great Island. 40 people.
Oh, boy.
Really?
That's part of why.
Well, maybe we can siphon some of them off.
Great, yes.
I have, and I've been mentioning
Let's
this,
get
this
their
is J.P. Perlman, he's a Marine. He was on, I guess he's at reserve duty. He was a weekend down someplace in, in the Carolinas with his unit. He's gonna fill out the applications, and I'm gonna have coffee with him, and we're gonna put him through the process. Now, here's the thing, right? He's up for renewal, so is Nancy. I'm trying to convince him to stay,
Yeah.
all right?
Who?
You.
No, I'm not staying.
And as a result of that,
This meeting is already gone.
you know,
The drain.
it's something I'm putting him on the spot, by the way, okay, my best friend.
You're not putting me on the spot.
So that means you're gonna or you're not
No,
gonna?
I'm not going to.
All right.
You're
well
not
then-
going to re-up?
I've been on this thing for a long time.
Hey, Georgia, how are you?
Thank you.
Then,
If he doesn't re-up, I'm not re-upping.
Come to the table.
Okay.
One family here.
well, what I'm trying to say, Sue Ann, is that if he decides to leave, then this guy's gonna end up taking his spot, all
Okay.
I was
right?
only
I
kidding.
know
Just so
that.
you know.
I know that.
All
All
right?
right, thank you. Yep,
Okay.
that sounds good.
But he's not gonna leave until after the Memorial Day Parade, or maybe
Oh, that- yeah.
August, whatever.
Yeah, maybe after the summer.
Fall over each other's head.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi there.
I'm George.
George is here for the, I'm sure for the cemetery portion of it.
You're right.
Oh, okay,
I have a map
all right.
and contacts.
Georgia last name?
Von Schmidt,
Von Schmidt.
Von Schmidt?
Yeah,
little V-O-N,
Yeah. Oh, little v.
I think, yeah.
that's right.
And then capital S.
C-H-M-I-D-T.
Capital L, small a, capital L.
Unlike
small a.
Kurt, which is a big V.
Well, fine.
Von Schmidt.
No, he's a little V.
Von
Is he a little V?
Bert? Yeah, he's a little V too.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
Okay.
well, welcome. Glad you're
already
here.
passed this.
No problem.
Oh, okay. I was really worried. I was like, they're not going to be able to vote on this.
No,
Very
we
worried. I was
made
running
it.
so late.
No, we thank you though for being here. So Chairman's report, first thing, I don't want to forget to tell everyone, they've asked us for our June 13th meeting, they need this room. So we'll meet in room 119. And I will actually not be here. I have reserved time from June 1st through the 16th. So I'm going to miss the meeting, but I'll do all the minutes and everything. And perhaps our vice chair can stand in.
All right, okay.
And but that also,
So eager.
He is, means, but we'll hit that later in the agenda, the Flag Day. I will not be here for Flag Day.
Okay.
Reserve Day. Okay, and just to put into the chairman's report portion of it, Elizabeth Geiger, I think probably everyone saw the emails, hopefully, about a town hall mural project, moving together. There's loads of information. Terry's done a lot of the legwork on collating all of the information and writing it up. So this woman, Elizabeth, is going to be putting all of that together and making a proposal to town hall to put signs on the murals around town hall, and then potentially create some sort of a book that's available for people that want to read more about it. You look
Yeah,
like you want to say
there's
something.
several years ago, there's a difference between motion and progress. Several years ago, there was a designer who was hired to dress up town hall. She thought these were antiquated. So that's what kicked off this whole thing several years ago. That they were not made monuments at the time. I think primarily because there were people on the RTM who were concerned about the insurance cost if we declared them monuments. So that's the political quandary that needs to be addressed, because if they're monuments and they have to be protected, then they have to have a value. And if they have to have a value, they have to be insured.
Gotcha.
So that's the sticky wicket.
So who on the RTM is the person that should be
We can make
responsible
that
for
fantastic.
that?
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Seth.
You know, that's something
Jim's
that
gonna
we'll
go
take,
to him
we'll
right
take to
now.
the Board of Selectmen and let them whipsaw the RTM on that. My challenge with what I put together, I was putting it together for my personal use, because back then I was running tours of town hall for the Scout program. So sadly, it didn't occur to me 8 years ago to quote my sources to where I got the information.
Oh, gotcha.
So a lot of
Yeah.
this is information I've taken from other places,
Yeah.
but I no
And
longer
it's been so
know
long, yeah.
Yeah.
where it
Fair.
came from.
That's totally fair.
And obviously, I'm not going to be doing any work on this at all for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
I've got other fish to fry first.
You got a wedding to pull off.
What?
You have a wedding, it's kind of like a wedding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we'll get to all the people who are going to be at the table next to the kitchen in a minute.
This proposal for the town hall mural recognition project, does she have something that we could put into the display case?
I don't know if she does yet. She's working on putting together a proposal.
Right.
To present.
But I mean, somewhere down the line, she might be able to put the
Maybe.
book that she wants
Yep, perhaps.
together or something like
Perhaps
that
could be
in
there,
there
or
with
maybe
a-
there's a trifold with smaller
Exactly,
pictures of it or
with
something.
background on what she's doing.
Yeah.
Something
I mean,
interesting.
if
I
you
feel
look-
like, yeah, that's, makes perfect sense that you would coordinate
Yeah.
the display
Yeah.
case with that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody at this table has had a child in the Holmes school 6 years ago.
No,
Yeah.
not even a grandchild.
I think it was about 6 years ago when they were redoing Holmes School. A custodian who had been there for quite some time said, well, when we did the last renovation, we painted over a mural.
Oh, my God.
And they were able to get the paint off it and restore it, and it may be the nicest mural in town.
How could somebody do that, make a mistake like that?
Like I
That's
said,
crazy.
there's a
Wasn't a
difference
mistake.
between motion and progress.
All right.
Yeah, you know,
Great.
since the task here basically is to make sure that history stays history,
Of course.
and so,
Yeah.
Unadulterated history.
yeah.
So that's more to follow on that. I just wanted everyone to know
Yeah.
that that was in the works, which I
Okay.
think is really cool. It's really neat.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if you were on all the emails, because she didn't always keep everybody on every email chain, but Karen and Dave Pollitt have taken a lot of close-up pictures of several of these murals.
Right.
That, and if we can get Ken Reese out of retirement, he's the guy to pull it together, because Ken Reese, I don't know how many of you know Ken, but Ken has been the behind-the-scenes guy at Museum of Darien for a long time, along with your former husband. I mean, the two of them put more of the bricks and mortars in place for the history of Darien than anybody,
Right.
so.
And Marion Castell was on the email chain
also-
too,
Yeah.
and she's got significant depth of knowledge.
Yeah, but she's the one to twist Ken Reese's arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that at least all of the right people are in the conversation at the moment, so that's good news. Okay. I haven't heard anything from Town Hall, and we don't have Rob here today, so we'll wait to see, but I imagine we should be hearing, and I think they usually publish the budget as voted and approved at some point in the not too distant future. I think it comes out, so we'll know what sort of, how close we came on what we requested versus what we were given for our budget. Display case update, anything new?
Nothing new.
Okay, and
You haven't
thank
heard anything, have you? No.
Thank you
Nothing
for
new.
that great spreadsheet, that's
Oh,
really
you're welcome.
helpful.
Well,
What?
every little bit helps, right?
Right, doesn't have to be fancy, I liked that a lot. Yeah.
It's got the contact information, that's important.
That's really
Yeah.
important.
Just helps us stay.
Let's see, Terry, do you have an update for this?
We're not gonna have anything for May. I've gotten some blowback on who I thought was the primary candidate as to not enough involvement. So I'm at an impasse at the moment.
And were there any other, do you need, any help with that?
For the
Any other-
speaker or the grand
I'm-
marshal?
No, this is the
I'm going
street
to
sign
need a lot of
program.
help
Oh.
after Memorial Day. I could not get it together in time for May.
Okay,
But once the parade passes, yes.
okay.
Yep.
Get another sign up, okay, that'd be great.
If that doesn't come through, will we use the secondary one that we voted on?
No, because we didn't,
This is for the street sign program, this isn't for the speaker. or-
Oh, got it, okay, got it.
Not Memorial Day yet. Okay, so for the cemetery committee, I have here, well, actually, first of all, before I forget, I think I sent it out on Saturday, is that right? At 5:30 PM, so Saturday the 13th. On Pasture Lane, they're gonna be unveiling their new weed cemetery sign. It had broken and fallen off, and they put together a new sign with help from people here, I think. And so that's being unveiled with a little.
And I'm speaking.
And you're the one speaking, yes.
And it's at 5.
What I had was
5:30, I
5:30.
believe, right?
5:30.
Yeah,
On the 13th?
on the 13th.
Okay.
because you've got ancestors buried there, don't you?
Well, apparently, I never knew who they were, but I've done my homework. And I found them.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you never know who you find in this town.
Maybe we can get some Henley Happening people.
Yeah, just come down the road.
Good idea.
Now, this was in my box, I believe. Let's see, it said, per Kate, please plan to address this cemetery, there are 100 graves, and contact Jed Lawrence with questions. So this says the Weed Cemetery number 2 on Holly Pond. To my cemetery committee.
Is that the guy who won't let
people.
us in?
Jed?
Oh, that is the. oh.
Really?
No, he won't give us access.
Why?
Well, it's very.
Well, it's not Jed. He won't, it's some guy who lives
I
there.
think this young lady's going to help us with this.
I have help here.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
Well, first of all,
nice.
there
Whenever you're
is
ready.
always by law access to
There should
any
be,
cemetery. So it's not a question where you have to ask for permission. There is, well, by law, there
Okay,
is a
so-
right of way to a cemetery.
So,
I'll give you the
Help.
history. So
Are we on that now, cemetery
Yes,
committee?
Cemetery committee.
Okay.
So I'm just talking about Weed Cemetery number 2, which is off the post road onto Holly Pond at the end of Weeds Landing. A lot of people don't even know that it exists, but it's huge, and it's got about 100 graves, ranging in age from the mid-1700s to one that was snuck in there by Neil Callahan somewhere when he was building and developing that site. And Weed Cemetery number 2 has always been a problem for the town to manage. It's basically, I guess, considered an abandoned cemetery. But access has been a huge problem since day one. When Neil Callahan developed it, an easement was granted that runs across all the backyards on Weeds Landing, through the backyards. And so people over the years have attempted to do other things in their backyards, put up structures and such, and so it's been a constant battle to keep that passageway clear. Access really should have been off one of the lots on Weeds Landing, adjacent to the cemetery, but whoever was on P&Z at that time didn't have that happen. So, in the 1970s, my husband Ed Schmidt and I and my son Jesse cleaned that cemetery out. It was a horrible mess, and we even paid to have tombstones fixed, and it was quite a job. And at that time, the town wasn't doing much keeping of cemeteries that were abandoned. Again, in 2015, my younger son, Jonas, did that cemetery as his Eagle Scout project with all of his Boy Scout
Oh,
colleagues.
nice project.
And we combined with Norotan Presbyterian Church on that one, so we had the old and the young out there hauling debris. And we again tried to get the town involved, and there was a big discussion about how to get a truck in there, and the town was reluctant to use the easement. This is always the issue that runs through people's backyards, especially since one of the residents had decided to build a sort of terrace on the easement. But we came up with a plan, and we were able to get some local contractors and such to get equipment in there and haul stuff out. And so a major cleanup was done, and that was great.
What year was that, Georgia?
That last cleanup was 2015, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's a large cemetery, as I said. It's 100 graves, so it's not small. Many prominent Darien residents have that as their final resting place. So I was talking to Jed Lawrence the other day, and he said, oh, it's such a mess in there now. He was upset about it.
Oh.
There had been, I know there was some money appropriated for fixing up some of the small cemeteries. And Jed was very animated about it and hoped that we could get some help over here, because this one huge tree fell down, and nothing short of a miracle missed all the headstones. It fell like snaked between the headstones. So there was no major damage, but it makes it impossible to access the cemetery. It hasn't been mowed or cleaned or touched.
And is the tree still there?
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
if the families want
you'll
to
see
go
the
visit
tree.
these,
There's a picture.
their families.
Where do you
they
have to go?
battle.
Well, there's the lot, let's see, as best I can tell, the lot was all owned, there was a huge lot owned by the Weed family, including the Darien YMCA way back then. And this cemetery was created, as best I can tell, by Epinetus Weed, who died in 1763 and is the first one who's buried there. And then more and more people got buried. And so there was this great big lot, and it was just kind of like some free-form right-of-way going across this large, huge lot that people would take. Because, you know, people, they wanted to bury people away from where people were living so it didn't get stinky and things like that. So it's just kind of off there, but it's on a beautiful little site overlooking the pond. So when that parcel was divided up and Weeds Landing became a reality, as I said, they created an easement from the Boston Post Road through everybody's backyards on Weeds Landing on the west side of Weeds Landing. You have to go a long way to get to the cemetery. And that's where the town has been very reluctant to travel. There used to be some people who will go unnamed who lived on Weeds Landing who used to scream at anybody that came
I see
in.
what you mean about it going in between. Jeez.
Yeah, it was a miracle there. So there was a sort of a combative relationship. Those people are now dead and gone, and probably not buried there.
I was about to say, too bad, they're not.
But anyway, we have another way in
Nice
addition
looking
to this
monuments.
easement. The easement really needs to be traveled like every, less than 15 years to make sure that the neighbors don't build patios on it and claim that it's been taken over by adverse possession. That's not an issue for today. The person, by the way, who built the patio is gone. So last time when we dealt with this, we told them that really couldn't be there, and someone did remove it, which, it wasn't a complete nice patio, it was sort of like stones here and there. So we have another way in, which we also used last time, which is not through Weeds Landing. I'll just back up one second. So when relatives come to try to go in the cemetery, the natural way in is to cut through property on Weeds Landing. And there's been people who've come from, all over the country. They park there, walk through somebody's side yard and get yelled at. That's kind of unfortunately how that goes. Because walking all the way, parking on the Boston Post Road and walking a quarter of a mile in is a little, nobody thinks to do that. There is another way in, though, for purposes of cleanup, and that's the Calvi's house, which is on the Boston Post Road. Calvi has given us permission in the past. They're buddies of Jeb Lawrence's, and they would give us permission again. And there's a phone number, and I would love somebody to write this down and keep it. It's 722-1188. That's a cell phone number for
What's the area code?
203.
203.
Which Calvi is this?
This is Kristen and Joe. Their house is like 2,500 or 20-something Post Road, right next door to Weeds Landing. And I made Jed draw a map, and I have a copy for you.
And is Calvi with a C or a K?
C-A-L-V-E.
That's Fred's
Did you get the phone number?
grandson, right?
Yeah.
So,
Fred Calvi is one of our wartime veteran
Right.
street sign programs.
so here's a map, and I don't know who would like this, but it shows, it's not very tidy,
with
but
the
it shows
minutes.
what's going on. And the cemetery is up at the top. You can see this easement, the Boston Post Road would be along the bottom. And there's that easement coming all the way off the Post Road. There's Weeds Landing on the left and the properties on the left. And to go up the easement, you go off the Post Road, go straight through everybody's backyard, and then there's a fairly steep hill where a great big wood pile from a prior cleaning expedition, or who knows who puts the wood there, it could be the neighbors. And there's a whole bunch of wood chips that I think are left possibly from our project at the top of that hill. And then the tombstones are all in here. And here's Holly Pond here. So The Calvies property they border both Holly Pond and the Boston Post Road. And their property runs all along this easement. So and their driveway is right here. So they don't mind at all if we come in through their property, get over to the tail end of this easement. We have to go over like a small stream, which is no big deal. It's hard to get a truck up here in the past.
It's impossible to get a truck.
It's a
up
steep
there.
How
hill.
wide
Okay.
is that easement? And is that easement marked?
It's not.
Actually,
marked.
it is marked right
Is it?
now. Somebody bought a house, this is what Jed told me yesterday, Jed told me that. Someone bought a house on Weeds Landing, or was buying a house on Weeds Landing, and as a consequence, they had a survey done, and the surveyor marked the entire easement, so it's right
Because I
now
would think
marked.
that's something they could do in perpetuity, just have
I
it
feel
marked.
like, yeah, that's.
So
yeah.
that it's
Mhm,
clear
sure.
for people that this is the easement and.
And don't build
people
on it.
can-
Public use.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the moment, at least for the purpose at hand, Calvies are happy to let us go through and get, up their driveway, and then we can access just the top of this easement. You can get a truck almost to the bottom of that hill there, but then you can't get a truck up the hill into the gravesite. So what we did last time is just got a truck up there and then were able to pull all the debris into one location, and then they were just able to pull it down the hill, which isn't that hard, and put it in the truck, and off it went. So we're just hoping that since this is a pretty big cemetery and with a lot of nice graves in it that is in bad shape and hasn't been cleaned for a long time, we hope that this can go on the to-do list in the very near future, because of this tree, according to Jed, you can't get in there.
Okay, let me go back and go through this history, all right?
Mhm.
I talked with the Calvies probably over 2 years ago.
Okay.
I brought the landscape guy that cleans the cemeteries that, I don't know whether Monuments and Ceremonies are responsible for the cemeteries or not. I have no idea.
We have a committee that has.
Okay, all
a
right,
separate
okay.
budget.
So that's
But
one
It's a
thing.
finite budget.
But is this one included in that?
Actually,
list?
it should be included in it, all right? So
Okay.
let me go back. So I brought my landscaper there, and I said, I want you to clean the cemetery up. And it's the woman, Calvi, I don't know, it's not the husband, it's the woman that we spoke to.
Kristen.
Okay? All right, and so he said to me, he said, Jim, I can't get a truck back there. I'm gonna send my guys down there. They're gonna clean it up, and they're gonna have to bring everything out from the cemetery to where his truck is. I said, okay, I understand. I said, but there's gotta be an easier way to do this. So I went over to, I guess it's Weeds Landing, whatever the name of that road
That's right,
is.
you got it.
Okay. Looked at some of the houses on Weeds Landing, and one house had a driveway that backed right into the cemetery.
That's right.
I mean, it was great. So I went up, knocked on the door. The guy was reconditioning everything inside the house, and I explained to him what we were trying to do. And he gave me some talk. And he said, well, maybe you can do that, but I'm going to be the one to decide when you're going to ever come in here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, my landscaping guy is standing next to me. So I said, look, his name is Mario. I said, I want you to try and do this. So he did it once because he pulled the truck in there. His wife said it was okay to do. The husband came out and started giving him aggravation. All right? He cleaned the entire cemetery up, and that's the last he wanted anything to do with any of this. So that's the situation. That's number one. Number two, we have X amount of dollars to clean up all these cemeteries, and that money is gone.
Mm-hmm,
and it won't be here until the new start of the year.
right.
So the only way I would ever get involved in any of this stuff is if I brought my landscaper there, explain to him what you're explaining, and find out whether or not he can operate like this.
And your best bet,
And anytime you
Yeah.
want to be there with us, I would sincerely appreciate it.
the best bet, I'm happy to be there if I can. And Jed Lawrence, who you may know, he's very good friends with the Calvies. So
But-
we're not talking, I understand.
not the Calvies.
It's not the
Gave-
Calvies
they
that
gave you
Right,
the
but
grace.
I know.
are the
Right,
issue.
so
But
we're
it's
not
one
gonna go
way
that
in.
way.
Yeah,
It's
but what
one
I'm
way.
trying to explain to you is,
Yeah.
and I appreciate where you're coming from on this, because I had the same feeling about what was going on in the cemetery. But it's extremely difficult for this guy to do that, and it's not only difficult,
Money.
it's costly.
Sure.
And we have a very limited budget, and he's got like 8 or 9 other cemeteries that I convinced him to clean up and do all this stuff, and the money is only like this. Now this past year, I don't even know if we had as much money as we had the previous year, but since Rob has been a new treasurer, he asked for more money. Now, I don't know whether we've received that or not, but what I'm trying to say to you is that if there's some way you can help me and this guy that's the landscaper eliminate going all the way back there, because you said you can bring a truck in here.
You can bring a truck down Calvi's driveway.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, which is not Weeds Landing, right?
No,
Weeds-
I've been in Calvi's driveway with the truck, but go ahead,
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah, and I believe we did access through Calvi once, and we did access through the easement one, I'm talking over, decades of time now. And, each time is a little bit of a challenge depending on what is dropped where, where the piles of debris are
Right.
and such. And I know that the town once, at least back in the mid-20 teens, was reluctant to do the easement because they said they would have to bring the material out with wheelbarrows across the easement.
Right.
So, Jed, who's over there a lot, feels that getting through Calvi's property
Okay, so
is the
here,
best bet.
here-
And
here-
Jed's the best.
great.
Connection.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. And if Jed is the person to show us the way in there and to go through the easement and bring a truck back there, I would be delighted to meet with him
Yep.
and the landscaper.
Yeah.
And you just tell me when he's available. But I want you to understand something. The money is not going to be available until the
Understood.
beginning of the year.
We understand.
Now, I know that you have a presentation there on the 13th.
No, not
That's a
there.
different one.
Different one.
Different one.
That's weed number 2.
Yeah.
This is number 2, I'm going to number 1.
Weed
Yeah.
number
Weed 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this number 1 or number 2?
This is number 2. Weed
Okay.
Cemetery number 1 is off Pasture Lane, near,
And it's tiny
off,
and nice.
near
That's-
water, it's small.
That's
Yeah.
the
Very small.
presentation someday.
What's the cemetery that we got the sign for?
1.
One.
Okay.
Weed 1.
So it's,
That has nothing to do with.
okay, so you're doing your presentation on number 1?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I
Oh.
thought you were doing it
No,
on
that's
number 2.
okay.
All right, okay. All right, so,
So this is not like, there's no fire in the barn here, it's just that
We
it
wanted
really
to
needs help.
re-bring it to our attention.
no,
Well,
I,
It sounds like some of the founders of the town are buried in that cemetery. Could we somehow,
Oh, yeah, there's lots of people there.
I mean, it just sounds, I don't know.
you know,
Historic
I have
cemetery
to
that
tell
we
you,
should give attention to.
this is a tug of war.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Trying,
To get behind those people's houses and
Well,
homes.
no, it's just a list of
you know,
cemeteries that are in
I'm
the
saying
town.
this on TV now, right? There really is not a lot of interest. I mean, it's like this, if you're gonna take care of this, you take care of it.
Oh, okay.
This is the amount of money that you have, and that's the end of it. And
So
I've
getting
been
the money
climbing
to
up
do
the hill,
this is
all right?
like.
Well, the money is gonna be there,
Yeah,
but to do
somewhat.
something like this, I need somebody to help me
Sounds like we've got
maneuver
some
this thing.
This is a big, this is a
This is a
big
good
place.
job.
Yeah, it is, but I still would like to give it a shot,
Yeah.
because I got the guy to do it once.
Right.
And I think I can get him to do it again, but it's gotta be a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
I
want
haven't been back.
Jed Lawrence to
I'm
say,
kind of judging now.
So, okay,
Okay.
I think we've got a way forward.
yes,
You'll work.
Gloria is gonna let me,
With Gloria to
get me
Jed's
involved with Jed
direct
Lawrence.
connect
And then
and-
Jed Lawrence is gonna have me and the landscaper go over there, and he's gonna show us how to bring a truck in there and back it all the way back.
And the landscaper then can give us.
Exactly.
Idea of
Estimate
what
of
he
cost.
thinks
Well,
it will cost.
here's the way it'll work. You know, I'm sorry, I'll call you back.
Never off duty.
He'll do it. I just have to find a way to spread the money out over
Damn.
one additional cemetery.
Right.
And I think I can find a way to do it as long as they make it easy for him to bring a truck in there.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the key.
That's the thing.
You
It
know-
sounds like it's very isolated.
Yeah, it
in
is.
comparison to
But,
the-
and I would love to do this.
There's always a way to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Well,
We've
that's
done
why I
this.
want Jed Lawrence to
Yeah.
show us the way to make
Okay.
it happen.
Well, maybe we could raise some funds if we need to help. I mean, I could try to see if I could do something like that. Well, that's down the road.
Yeah.
So we'll
That
just
would be
let you
great,
guys get
okay?
Jed also said, sorry to interrupt, that the Masons actually do the maintenance work on one of the cemeteries that the money's appropriated for, and he just, this isn't a criticism,
Mm-hmm.
but he said that, he didn't know why since they already take care of it, why
Right.
there needed to be money appropriated for its care.
Well, you see, there's
But
something,
you'd have to
That's
talk.
news
there's
Well,
something,
There are
let
14
me
there are
explain
14
something to you, all right?
cemeteries. That's the problem.
But there were
Yeah.
these five that were
Oh,
selected.
boy.
There were four
When
that
when
were
I
selected.
first walked
Four.
into this
I just said
cemetery
four.
issue, okay? Nobody really knew how many cemeteries we were supposed to take care of, all right?
Yep.
That's the first thing. Now, let's talk about that one that's off the post road,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
They take care of that. I thought the office building took care of that cemetery, because they built walls around it and it's beautiful. But what I'm trying to say to you is that if there's X amount of dollars and that's being taken care of, then whatever the money that is left is used to take care of these other cemeteries. And another example is Weburn takes care of one of the cemeteries because it's adjacent to one of the holes, and I asked them to do that. So that's eliminated that money to go to that cemetery. So I just want to be clear on this. It's not like there's a big bushel of money, and because this one cemetery is taken care of by X amount of people, that there should be plenty of money to do this, all right? Just want to make that clear.
So what we did with Weed Cemetery number 1, the little tiny one that I'm talking about, is the town apparently gave money for the purchase of a sign. This is what I was told by somebody, true or not, I
The
don't know.
purchase of
Yeah,
the
that was
sign?
through
A
this committee.
replacement sign,
Yes.
correct.
Excuse me, are you talking about the sign that you're currently going to hang up?
Yes.
Yes.
The sign came from the town hall. There's a place downstairs that they have a number of those signs that have already
No,
been
no,
cut
no,
out.
no, no, we paid for
Well,
those signs.
well, fine,
Yeah.
but they're
Not the town.
but they're
This-
downstairs in
Yeah.
this room. That's where that sign came from,
And
right?
apparently, I guess, they're passing the hat around. I guess some people paid for the printing of the sign and for some of the hardware to hang it because.
You mean this week, number 1?
Correct.
Okay, I'm not
And so,
aware of any of
no,
that.
and so the
neighbors
guy that's
are
organizing this is just
pulling
passing the
together
hat.
to-
Oh,
Okay,
And it
that's great.
doesn't, it kind of takes care of itself. It doesn't
Yeah.
require, because it's tiny.
I wonder if we could do the same thing with number 2.
That's what
The
I was
neighbors and,
We
things
could-
like,
We could pull it together.
do you live in that area?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You would think that they would want it to look
You're
nice
not
since it
wanting
abuts their
to
property.
access it.
I am
Well,
absolutely
especially the
person
guy
to
that
stop
I
it.
asked it was okay to do.
Yeah.
No, we
And
can, but
his
we can
house
figure
is
it out.
directly in front of the cemetery. The cemetery is a disaster, and he really didn't want to do anything.
Okay, we need to
All right, I'm
Wait.
done.
move
I'm
along.
done too.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for coming
Thank you.
to enlighten us about
Yeah.
weed number 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what do you want me to do? You want me to call you and you're going to set something up with Jed?
I can do whatever you like. What's
Okay.
easiest for you?
And I have your number.
Don't be too quick to say that.
Okay,
Oh, I know.
excellent. All right, yeah.
Can I have
One
that?
of these?
So we are gonna
Hold on,
move
I'm taking
on
one.
to
Oh, I gave
Memorial
one.
Day
Yes, I gave
Parade,
one.
because I know Terry's
I was
got a
gonna-
lot to talk about.
You want that back?
I think we just have one of those extra. I made a photocopy.
Thanks.
for
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you want to write down your phone number and carry it, then I'll make.
All right, yeah, so
I-
you two
I have
connect.
your phone number.
Terry, we're gonna
You want to give me Jed's number as well?
Mhm.
All right.
move forward with
Okay.
Memorial
So-
Day Parade.
So I gave the press release for our Grand Marshal, who I can now name is Bruce Kinlock, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam vet, flew over 200 combat missions, helicopter pilot, did a lot of insertion and extraction of long-range reconnaissance patrols, a lot of medevac evacuations, a lot of ground support operations. And when I met with Bruce, he said, I don't really deserve this honor. And I said to him, Bruce, every single Grand Marshal that I have interfaced with over the years has said exactly the same thing. And just like they were wrong, you are wrong. You absolutely deserve this honor, but you're in great company. And he said something very nice. He said, I'm going to take it not as an honor for me, but as an honor for all those that I served with, especially those who did not come back.
That's nice.
So that was great. I'm glad we picked him. Our speaker will be Kevin Callahan, who is the author of Brothers in Arms and several other historic treatises. And I think he's perfect for the job because the book Brothers in Arms is, he went actually all around the country and around the world to various veteran cemeteries to find out brothers who were buried in the same cemeteries around the world, and interviewed 250 families and put together a really compelling story of service of the individuals, of their families, and of the cemeteries as well. So I think he's really the ideal speaker for us for Memorial Day. I have not sent out his press release yet. I try to do one at a time, so the press release for the Grand Marshal has gone out. The press release for the speaker will go out next week. I'm glad that the mailman came to my house before I came here today, because I got the letters from the National Guard committing that yes, we will have a marching unit from the National Guard this year. I did pirate a lot of George's late husband's book on Memorial Day celebration in Darien, which is what I give to the National Guard every year as to why we should be the first on their list to have a unit, because even though it's not been an official parade, ever since 1881, when the Fitch home was still being used by soldiers and sailors, based upon Ed's book, the Civil War veterans would put their uniforms on and come down, before there was 95, come down Fitch Avenue to the cemetery. And so while it's not been an official parade, we can say that Darien has had a Memorial Day parade every year since 1881, including COVID.
That's right, we still did it.
So I'm thrilled that once again we did get confirmation that we are going to have the National Guard flyover as well. And as usual, As of this afternoon, of the 80, 90, of the 104 units that are invited to march in the parade every year, 38 have already said yes. 15 have said no, and 51 are yet to be heard from.
Is that
But
good?
that's status normal. There are a lot of people who, sort of like your kids, you have to say something, and the third time you say it is the first time they say, huh? And on the fourth time they hear you, it's the same thing. I have to send out 4 emails to get a lot of responses. So I anticipate that at least half of those 51 wayward children will say yes, but I don't
How many
have it
yeses do you
officially
have?
yet. 38. I have 38 yeses, 15 nos, and 51 are still out gathering wool. I will need at least 4 people on Sunday, the day before, to hang the bunting on the dais and on the reviewing platform. And the Parks and Rec, I love Pam Geary, and I mean, she does a great job, and Sandy Rich, who has now replaced Jim Flynn. They have confirmed that, yes, they will have everything set up. So we're gonna need people to hang bunting on Sunday. And
What time Sunday?
We'll get into that in a minute. And we're gonna need people in the parking lot to hang the signs at Goodwives as well. So basically, hopefully every single person on this committee will be there. And also on Monday, day of, it's critical, must have at least 4 people from this committee in that parking lot at 8:30 in the morning on Monday morning. Because that's when hell's a-poppin' happens. As usual, our biggest problem every year on Memorial Day is the parents who think it's their world and we're just passing through it, who ignore the pleas to do not get out of your car. It's kiss and drop. It's not park your car and escort little Susie or little Johnny to where you think he's gonna be and then talk to 4 of your friends. That's our biggest problem every year, every year. So I really need people down there, because otherwise it just becomes a real problem.
Should be here. I should be able to do it.
Um,
It's just a lot of smiling and get it going.
Yeah.
I'll do parking lot.
Yeah.
I'll do
Well,
the parking lot,
as
too.
I
You're
mentioned
gonna do the
before,
parking
before
lot,
the
too.
beginning, I
Yeah.
want to
Good wives.
speak
Who's
to-
gonna give us the
1, 2, 3,
diagram?
4.
I
So
wanna-
we got 4 parking lot guys right here.
The good wives, you mean, the night
Yeah.
before, the
Yeah.
Sunday before?
Right.
Or the-
Yeah.
Well, I'll do the
Jamie,
Sunday
it was
before,
at
and I'll do it
least-
on the
It
parade.
was at least 4.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Oh,
4.
okay.
Well, that's what we did last year.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Isabel
I'll
said
put up
that she'll do
signs
the
and I'll be
signs.
there the
Yeah,
next
sure.
morning with a
Yeah.
machine gun. I mean,
What time do you want people to meet on Sunday?
All right, Sunday for the signs, it's light out now, the sun doesn't go down till 8:15 at this time of year. So if we get there at 6 o'clock, that's fine, because
Isabel and I will be there
yeah,
at 6 o'clock
6
Sunday.
o'clock
6
for
p.m.
Sunday and 8:30 on
Isabel and I will
Monday.
do that Sunday.
And speaking of which, I went downstairs, the sawhorses with the parade notification of go left, go right, they're not downstairs, so I don't know who has them.
They're there.
They are?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see that, I was in there a couple of days ago, I didn't see them, so.
As of Monday, they were there.
Sunday, we're
Because
going
I had
to
them, I
Goodwives.
found them in my garage.
Sunday at 6
Okay.
at Good Wives.
6 p.m.
Is that it?
So
They're all the way
speaking
back.
of stuff downstairs, we are going to need to reorder new sashes, Grand Marshal sashes, because there's only, the last of the Mohicans is downstairs.
Okay,
So that's what I went down to check on.
okay. I don't know, do you know how to do that? Or where do we get
I'm
them
sure
from?
it's not gonna be hard to find. I know there's a guy over in that park on the Stanford Darien border that does stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
The trophy place, probably.
yeah, yeah.
Are you talking about the trophy place in Stanford?
Yes.
They're no longer on that road, that little road on Viaduct.
Oh, they're not.
where did they move to? They moved to,
Ed something,
yeah, it's Ed's Trophies or something
Yeah.
like that. Ed Clark.
Ed Clark.
Ed Clark Trophies. He's no longer
Yeah.
on Viaduct. He's moved someplace
Someone
else
that
in
could look into
Stamford.
that, into the.
I can let you know where they are,
commercial.
because we had to order some stuff from them, some nameplates,
So
so.
maybe just ask them if they have a grant, what their.
So when I take it out.
Well, I
That's
don't know what
red,
I'm
right?
talking
yeah,
about with that,
when-
so
when I
I'll give
take it
someone
out
the
this time,
information.
I'll measure it and photograph it so that,
And I'll give you where they're located, so you can
Cool.
talk to them.
no, you gotta give it to the chair lady and the treasurer.
Oh.
Are you gonna give us the plan for the parking lot where we should?
Yeah, but that's the problem with the 51 outgathering wall. I can't give a plan until I know who's in.
Okay,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
but then,
Yes,
but
you-
then you can
It-
give us the
That
plan.
is who
Yeah.
provides it.
And Clark
Yeah, yeah.
Trophies is in Google.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does it
and
have their
of-
new
of the
address?
There
51,
are 2 addresses, that's what I.
I fully expect half of
Acosta
them.
Street?
That's the
You know,
new address,
There are
that's the
some
new
people who
address,
just
yeah.
never answer, but I
It'll
know
be
that they're gonna
relatively
be there.
similar to last year, but
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
not to worry.
And by the way, the one area where we're going to be short this year, I suspect compared to other years, is in antique automobiles. So for our thousands of listeners out there, anybody who has an antique automobile who is interested in displaying your beautiful short, let me know, because the crowd always loves seeing the antique autos.
Cool. All right. So just to review then, the bunting at the cemetery on Sunday evening, what'd you say, 6:30, 8:30?
6 PM.
6 PM.
Same
And the
time at
bunting
the
will be
Good
there,
Wife shopping lot.
Or,
The bunting is downstairs, so last year you did the bunting,
somebody will
right?
have to get it out
Yeah.
of town hall on Thursday.
So who's gonna be in charge of the bunting? Because I'm gonna get the signs.
I can grab the bunting.
It goes to the,
I sent you his address. And I
Thank
sent you the address
So
also.
that is the
Of?
29th.
The printing place for the,
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, even though, you know, if I were doing this the first time, I'd be freaking out that 51 people still haven't answered, but it's been the same thing every year, so.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the one thing I do want to ask, I want to ask Police Chief Don Anderson to assign a full-time, on-duty police officer to that choke point where the parents, because, you know, each year so far, we've gotten one of the 80-year-old special policemen. And
People don't
that
pay
just
attention.
doesn't have the oomph that a guy with a sidearm and sunglasses has, who's 35 years old.
Hey, there are women on the force now that could do
And
it too.
I'll
Sure,
maybe I'll
that's
get
true.
Carrie. She'll do it.
There you go. There you go. And
Um,
she's tough.
And
I
then
know.
as far as the flags going out into the cemetery by the scouts.
So that happens with the scouts, and last year, I didn't get any call back, but I was told I didn't need to be involved and worry about it, because it was gonna happen without me. So I'm comfortable with that. Last year, it worked out fine,
Hmm.
so.
So we don't get any yes or no?
Did someone come and get the flags and all that last year, or?
No. So the flags get dropped off by the state to the police department. And much like the 51, the state never tells us when they're coming.
Right.
They just show up. So typically, the Boy Scouts just make a plan to have either Wednesday or Thursday to go get them and put them out.
And they get them from the police station?
Yeah.
And that's in the veterans portion, and then do
Correct.
we provide the boxes of flags for the rest of the?
We see what
Cemetery.
happens, we bring the other flags out. What typically happens is I'll go through them and pick out the flags that are still serviceable for that.
Okay.
And segregate the other flags. And typically what we do, we have a map of all the veterans in the private part of the
Right.
cemetery. We've only had 1 year where we had enough flags to hit every single stone. So that, yeah, I feel comfortable that I can be
You're-
Pontius
you're on
Pilate
it.
on this and it's still gonna happen.
Okay. All right. And let's see, and, okay, and everything in this, the ceremony's good, all that, cool. Excellent.
Oh, last thing,
Yes.
again, for our thousands of listeners out there, there are quite a few veterans in town who do not have not submitted their photograph to the Darien Times to be included in the Memorial Day issue. So for anybody out there listening whose family member is a veteran, please give them a nudge to get their photograph over to the Darien Times for inclusion, because this week is
Is
the.
there an address?
Hmm?
I've got a couple of people I'll remind, right?
Yeah,
today.
so just have them contact the Darien Times.
Just Darien Times,
Yeah.
okay.
Does it have to be, if they grew up in Darien and they're a veteran, but they're no longer living in Darien, can they still be included?
Anybody who has any relation to Darien, if
Okay.
they were living here or are living here.
And there's no specific contacts, just look on the Darien Times.
Editor at Darien Times, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
And make sure that they also include what branch of service they were in and what their rank is,
And when they serve.
and when they served.
Yeah.
okay,
And if they want to include a story, it may or may not get in, but at least get the photograph in, Sue Ann.
You're in.
Jim.
Still serving. All right, Flag Day ceremony. So as I mentioned earlier, I will be on duty, still serving, not a veteran yet. So I believe you have
You
the,
reminded me, Terry, you got to get the names of the two people at West Point and the one down at Annapolis also.
Yes.
You know them, right? So
Yes.
contact so they get their photos
MC,
in
is that
too.
Master of Ceremony?
Yeah, it's not just veterans for the
Okay.
Memorial Day issue, it's also those who are serving, currently
serving,
serving.
okay, good.
That's-
I
That's
assume
Flag
you're,
Day or
are you gonna
that's-
be the MC for this? I assume?
I don't know, I forgot about that.
In
You're
all of
being
the
asked.
excitement,
Right.
would
Would you do it?
Yeah, I'll
do
do
us
it.
the honor
Okay.
of being the MC
For Flag Day.
for Flag
Oh,
Day?
and by the way, yes, library has already agreed, inclement weather, they will hold it indoors. Library will furnish the hookup so that Darien Athletic Foundation will live stream the parade on TV. And TV 79, thank you, TV 79, will do the ceremony in the Veterans Cemetery. And thankfully, we have a volunteer from town who's in the Naval Reserve, not Sue Ann, not her husband, who will be blowing taps for us, as Brandon Holbrook will be blowing taps for us as well, so.
Nice.
And Chris Andrade and the Tudor Singers are lined up. So I think we have all the various components in place.
And who's live streaming the parade?
DAF, Darien Athletic Foundation,
Oh, nice.
and they do a great job every year.
Yes.
And did you reach out, I'm trying to remember
Oh.
how it happens for the
Minister, yeah.
General Logan's order and
That's
Gettysburg Address?
that's the Scout and the Girl Scouts, so you have to get me the Girl Scout.
Okay,
And we have as our, for the benediction and the invocation, we have senior pastor at First Congregational Church, Anthony Weissman, will be giving the invocation and the benediction.
What time is the Flag Day ceremony?
4:30.
yeah, just after work, after hours, I believe, so that.
Is it
that's when we
4:30
take-
or 5? I don't remember.
It's whenever you want to have it.
Yeah,
So why don't you say 5 PM?
be 5 PM probably, because I think
It's easier to
5:15
remember,
may-
yeah.
Yeah. The only thing you have to be careful with Flag Day is that at 5 PM, town hall is closed, so you have to have the flag. You have to bring the flag. You don't assume there's gonna be a flag there available for you.
So it's gonna be here.
Yes.
It's here.
I thought it was closed all day Friday.
Veterans. Well, it's the 14th of Friday, I don't.
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, it's a Wednesday? Good.
Well, town hall's open technically till
Till
5:15.
5:15. So,
Technically.
in theory.
8 to
flag should be there.
5:15, 4 days a week.
Help me on this. There's a flag and then somebody's gonna put the flag up, is that?
Yeah, so the flag is already taken down before then.
Okay, all right.
And so what happens is part and parcel of the ceremony is that we raise the
right.
flag, and then at the end of the ceremony, lower it.
Okay.
VFW helps you do that.
Correct.
I guess we need to, if you could pass on to me the press release and all of that stuff from yeah, the procedures for,
And is the DAR participating this year?
We'll invite them, and typically they would show up, but yes, we should send out a formal invitation to them and to the VFW.
okay.
And to the scouts. And the police department.
Those will all be in.
And as the MC,
Oh, no,
you'll
not at
do all
5
that?
o'clock. They'll be out.
I'm not MC for that, am I?
Flag Day, yeah.
Yes.
Am I?
Flag day.
Yeah, that's what
That's
you just
what we were-
volunteered to do.
That's what we were asking.
Oh, I thought it was for Memorial Day.
Oh,
That too.
that,
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Why not? You're our
Let
MC.
me look
Volunteer,
at
you're
my
stuck.
calendar, because I may be in Denver that day.
Should we send an invitation to the elementary, middle school, and the high school about Flag Day?
We could.
I mean,
Get the kids involved. I like that idea.
Yeah, I do too.
It's a Wednesday, I'll be here. I'm going to Colorado the next day.
Okay.
We'll give you a send-off.
Thank you, Terry.
is that something that the Flag Day is, I'm sorry. It's
Usually,
my son.
if there are 30 or 40 people at Flag Day, we're lucky.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with extending the invitation to.
No, I think it's a great
No
idea.
reason.
I do too. Get the kids
The
involved.
elementary schools often have their own ceremony first thing in the morning. Flag Day.
I'll take it. I don't remember.
But they
Yeah.
can do a double head.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea to invite.
People can come over after.
I can always say no.
Last year, I remember Alexander Dementner is one of the West Point
Oh,
guys.
excuse
me.
And he brought a roommate or
His friend, yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
and they helped out, and they were very sweet and helpful, and
Yeah, it was
they
cool.
had, because there was a ceremony, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but we had some older people, and they were helping them,
Yeah.
helping them.
Yeah.
Mobility and stuff. It was very sweet.
Sue Ann, I'm not trying to put you on a hook, I'm just asking you, who do we use to send the invitations to the elementary schools, to the middle school and the high school? Or do we do that via the newspaper?
It's usually an email.
Oh,
Is
okay.
how we send out the invitations to all of the state representatives and
Okay.
elected officials and police chief and
Right.
all of that.
Is there, with the newsletters, each school has somebody who is in charge of the newsletters.
Okay,
So that's where it would go through the newsletter, and I would think there's a way to find out who those people are who are editing the newsletter these days.
okay.
And Sue Ann, you send out that email as chairman?
I'll send that email out.
Duke Deneen should be able to
I will ask him, okay?
provide that information.
All right. The email addresses of the people that are
Of the
responsible for the
editors.
newsletter.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, of
Oh,
all
that'd be
the-
great if you could
all
get
the
that.
schools.
Yeah.
Let me know. That'd be super.
So 7 schools altogether.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Next is Declaration Day.
We're in good shape.
I have bad news.
And report.
I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be out of town for that too. Yeah.
What is the actual date of the Declaration Day?
It's
July
July
4th.
4th.
July
So-
4th.
It's planned every year to be on July 4th.
Excellent. And you have someone
Unavoidable.
performing and all of that
Yes,
stuff?
yeah, we
Excellent.
did
Did you
find,
finally
yeah,
get in touch
tutor
with
singers, and has
Oh,
taken
okay,
a
good.
survey, and
Okay,
he's got a
good.
lot of people there.
Okay.
Okay,
And I'm,
Oh,
Because I know
I'll
the
read
DHS
Tuesday.
guy's another, the band director's another contact that you could talk to, but if you
Yeah.
already have somebody lined up, you're good.
so far, yes.
Okay, good.
Nice.
And he thinks he's got a collective
Perfect.
mass, so.
Perfect.
And
Although
where
the
is that
band-
gonna- oh, sorry.
High school, Darien
Okay,
High School,
okay.
9:30, July 4th. And about a 20 to 25-minute ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Pledge of Allegiance, raising of the flag,
Perfect.
acknowledging all the current academy service attendees.
Yeah.
So all the Darien students that are at the academies. What else? Was in the last minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a full program, and we've got it pretty well choreographed, and we've got chairs and
That's
just a
exciting.
few more things to
I'm
set up, and then
excited
we're
about
good.
it. Sounds great.
Yeah. Reading of the Declaration of Independence by students.
Ooh, nice.
So exciting.
And John's, oh, I should say, there's someone in town who's going to dress up and lead off the reading of the Declaration as one of the signers of the Declaration.
Cute.
Yeah. So it'll be good. I mean, I think it's an important
Absolutely.
day to
Yeah.
remember
Yeah,
why we
it's
celebrate.
exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And then it feeds into the push and pull parade, which steps off at 10:30. That's why we did it at Darien High School.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Great.
And on that same date, because it's co-sponsored with the VFW. And
Well, no, ours is not co-sponsored with the VFW.
the push-pull parade. I mean.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, ours is
that's what I
separate.
mean, yes.
Yeah.
So there's two ceremonies.
Right.
There's the Declaration Day ceremony followed by the push-pull parade run by the VFW.
Right.
And the VFW is looking for sponsors. So any business that is interested in being a sponsor, please contact the VFW.
A sponsor for the push-pull parade?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it costs money to put on, because you gotta pay for all the police, you gotta pay for a lot of things to make something happen. So they're always looking for sponsors, and sponsors will be acknowledged publicly, so.
But you have a budget,
We have a very, very small budget.
but you do have
Right.
something,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, and we've got people who
volunteer.
have already volunteered.
So how are you gonna communicate this to the community?
Well, that's what we're gonna go in and find out
Okay,
something.
all right, okay.
And
Yeah.
the
Good
way we
question.
do our other events as well is
Yeah.
with a press release.
Yeah.
Okay,
And let the
okay.
papers know, and hopefully we'll.
So if
be-
anybody knows anybody who wants to be a sponsor, I happen to have forms here.
Of the push-pull parade,
Yeah.
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 Could I have one of those forms? I want to ask
Excellent.
somebody.
Yeah, let me have
about
We
one.
made it,
Form.
finally made it through the
Here is
agenda.
the,
Do we have any new business? Anything additional?
Here's the
minutes
info on
last
the
month have
VFW
all
that
the
goes with it,
festivities
Nancy.
of the- or the-
Sorry?
The
The
details,
general
sorry.
idea of what we're doing
Oh,
on
yeah.
the Declaration Day.
Okay.
All right.
Say again? Oh,
No, other Jim.
All right. Well, thank you
Okay,
all.
all
Let's
right.
see, do we have any, if there is no new business, does anyone care to make a
Make a
Carabillo?
Carabillo.
Carabello.
double Carabella.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May
Great.
I?